Let's take some time today to talk about a very interesting subject found particularly within Kenjutsu. It's quite known that in all the arts that are somehow related to the sword techniques like Kenjutsu, Yaijutsu, Batojutsu, in the Koryu forms, the Koryu structure and its thought, it's all based upon the idea that practitioner should be able, over the years of practice, to deal with any kind of situation. That is, if he finds, for example, another kenshi, he theoretically he could do any kind of movement and any timing that the other should be able to deal with that. So, if we talk about the Yaijutsu and Batojutsu, for example, even though the kata are beautiful and we have this clarity in every movement in a real bato or Yaijutsu situation, that practitioner should be able to draw extremely quickly, fast, and be able to put the kisaki or the sword exactly where he would like to. If we go from the kata practice to the free or the more real situations. Now, when it comes to Kenjutsu, there is something very particular and very interesting, which is the difficulty one may find to get into someone's guard or someone's kamae or someone's maai. It's not easy once you have ahead of you an expert kenshi. It's not easy to break his guard and his movement and get into that person, that kenshi. For this matter, there were developed many structures and many methods. In our school, one of the most known and interesting and dangerous method is toritake in Kenjutsu. However, what toritake seeks, what it looks for, is to surprise the enemy. The method toritake has always to do with surprising the enemy, and for that it uses some quite weird angles. Let's say, for example, if he enters in Natsuki, for example, very close to ki, instead of dealing with this kind of maai, in toritake, in this method, we'll try to get quite close to him. And we should always remember that in toritake we have the yoroi for us and for him as well. But trying to reach some very particular angles which makes more interesting for us to get through his guard. But there is also another method which is quite interesting, or principle, that is called katategiri niwa gosu no tokogari, which means you can find, or there are 5 sun of advantage in the katategiri attacks. A sun is a measurement of length in ancient Japanese measurement systems. A sun represents 3.03 centimeters. That is, 5 sun would mean something like 15 centimeters, which is a lot. When you have a kenshi against you, and you have something like this, 15 centimeters means truly the difference between a perfect cut and a perfect miss. There are also studies in which it doesn't matter what the uke tries to do or tries to attack, the kenshi has his arms stretched and his kisaki as his focus. So if he tries to attack freely, please do whatever you wish, you always find quite difficult for him to get through. It doesn't matter if he keeps entering or if he keeps retreating, you always find a stretched arm and a kisaki against him. So 5 sun would mean a lot. And what does this mean, 5 sun of advantage? Let's see. if he's here and if I have ahead of me, in front of me, a powerful and aggressive Kenshi, say he takes out my sword violently and he tries to enter in a Mako. One more time. As he tries to enter, I come to this Kamai just to keep myself guarded and then to set my sword, to set my blade as a technical element, preventing him to keep moving further, but yet he takes it out one more time and enters violently. So you see, from here, I do not have the angle to, as if I were here, to take him off or to take his blade off or even to cut him, because his angle and his position, his aggressive position, prevents me from doing this. So this is one particular case in which he takes it off, enters, and by entering one more time I can prevent being cut and cut him. Now this is my analysis. Now as we were saying, for one to cut a real cut, not just on the air, old masters would say this kind of cut would be done like the tail of a dog. It should move freely, because it's just not possible for it to have a heavy weight here or a heavy cut as you can find in Oyoroigiri, for example, the kind of cuts in which the hara has to impose itself first, so that Kenshi would try to perform a cut that would be capable to open an yoroi or a full armor. In this case, we just can't do this. So this would be the kind of cut in kanketsu no buta, or a precise and fast cut. So for that, we would have to understand, that could be a topic for other class, but one more time, he takes it off and enters, I protect myself, and he comes to cut. We have to find a perfect counterbalance, a counterweight for the sword in such a way that the blade would cut in the same angle and in the same phase. Now, we just saw that this is the danger of the advantage of about 15 centimeters for katategiri. However, it's known that Kenjutsu, over time, especially after 17th century, was quite developed in terms of heiho, in terms of strategy, and so one side would have one setting or one thought trying to deceive his enemy, but his enemy would then develop one more time his point of view and his technique and so on, in such a way that by the 18th century we would have a Kenjutsu which would be quite full of strategies and a very deceitful characteristics. So let's say in our school, one more time, in a particular kumitachi, we would have this passage which deserves to be pretty well studied. So he is in no kamai, and after a long sequence of movement, I will now position myself and make him move. I'll try to take him out of this position and then enter. When I enter, he hits violently on my blade, on my sword, trying to create a gap, a branch. So one more time. As he's here, he will enter to have full impact. As he enters, I try to catch him in katate kesagiri. So you see, this Morai is now such a Morai that I can cut him, but he cannot cut me. So let's turn, please. One more time. So I take him out of that position. And in this timing, you see, we have to split the time in two. So when he finishes his hit, I am already here. But now what he'll try to do is he'll enter further and split my timing. So he'll try to cut me in a dogiri, ichimonji dogiri. So one more time. I will take him out and he will take the blade off. I will cut, but he will cut me, splitting my time in two. So, what one can do, what one Kenshi can do to prevent this is to split his time in one more time. So, let's see how could this be done. I will enter, take him off, and defend myself. In the Kumitachi study, in which one cannot change the form, the degree of freedom he has is such that he can change his timing, he can change his Mai, but he cannot change the form itself. So it's quite a common mistake in this kind of study, in this Kumitachi, that the practitioner tries to cut, then he avoids this cut, so he has enough time to defend himself. Because of course, in a Kumitachi, you do not want to be caught or to be hit. On the other hand, what this teaches, what this shows us, is that before a practitioner tries to use his haya waza or haya irigo, which means his fast techniques, and to try to perform the kata and the forms in the greatest speed he can, he should be able to know his own limitations and how to move freely from one mai to the other without being caught.